Welcome to Behind the Scenes with Dan Rayfield.
And posts.
We didn't practice that one. This is great because this is live. See, there's no pre-production here. There's no, let's take another take and correct that.
Let me tell you, last night we got dinner and we were going through the script together, you know, having a run through.
Oh yeah.
That's it. That's it.
Is that what we were doing? Okay. Well, it's great to have you here. So those of you that are here in the Capitol, I stumbled, thanks to Janelle down in facilities. She said, "Why aren't you on channel 18?" I said, I don't know what that is. So we're on channel 18 now.
So to our one viewer, hello.
No, the entire house, the HRO said for us to give a shout out to them because they were going to be the only people watching.
Okay.
So
okay, fair enough.
So what are we going to try to accomplish this week?
So I thought we were going to demystify the house lounge.
Oh, yes. So the House Member Lounge. Now, just in case there's somebody, a voter that's out there going, those guys get food and we have to pay for it. We pay for it, right?
Indeed we do.
Okay. That's a great deal. I will say that. It's a great deal.
And the most amazing staff that you could possibly ever have in the House Lounge. Wonderful. Always happy, always smiling, and actually cook fantastic food too. With dealing with unruly members too.
And people who go up, I need gluten-free, I need wheat-free, I need this free, that free, that free, and they accommodate everybody. It's amazing. So we eat really good, but it's an option, right?
Yes.
You don't have to go eat there.
So this is the exposure. So there are some members that don't choose to eat. So the question is, do we expose which members don't want to eat with folks like us?
Okay, I'm willing to throw somebody from my side of the aisle under the bus. Representative Mike Neerman. Now, I know why he doesn't.
Oh.
I know why. I've asked him.
Is he going to be okay with us exposing it
Absolutely.
to our 10 viewers on Channel 18?
12. I told Neerman that I was going to do this. So
okay, fair enough.
Mike Neerman does not eat in the House Member Lounge because he says he has no control over his eating habits, and therefore he would balloon by 300 pounds.
That is the smartest decision not to eat in the House Lounge I've ever heard.
Because it's not just the meals, right?
Oh,
There's chips.
So for folks, if you've never been in there, and if you're a member, generally there's only the pre-session. People have a reception in there. But for members, we're here all the time. We're running between meetings. It's extremely busy, and it's a place where you can just grab something very quickly, get some food, run down. Also at lunch, they make kind of a warm, nice lunch, which then they package in boxes. So later on, if you happen to be here late, for instance, I was here till 7:30, 8 o'clock a couple times this week. I go up there and I can grab something so I don't have to leave, and you can be really efficient. And so it would be real easy to do that. And sometimes they put some snacks in there that are probably not the most healthy.
Yeah, bags and bags of potato chips.
Yeah.
Peanuts, cashews, candy bars. It's getting more healthy, but there's still some things. So that's why he doesn't eat there. And it's we pay a monthly fee to eat there. And so he's not doing it because he is the most fiscal conservative in the building. He just really doesn't want to gain weight. Do you know anybody else?
You know, there are some, but since I haven't talked to them, I feel I don't want to expose the situation. I think there are more Republicans than D's not using it.
I think you're correct.
Yeah, and maybe that's just the fiscally conservative nature.
It could
They're
be.
just got Lunchables in the office.
Sal Esquivel roasting hot dogs in his office.
Andy Olson.
Did I throw him under the bus
gosh,
too?
Andy, sorry.
Andy, didn't mean to. Well, he has his daughter Abby, and she makes great meals for him.
Well, there's a good reason for that. So let me ask you a question. On Fridays, the Senate Lounge doesn't meet, and sometimes we have unexpected members. Now, I think it's the House Lounge personally. How do you feel about it when our Senate colleagues come over to the House Lounge?
You know, Friday doesn't bother me as much as Wednesday morning, because Wednesday morning is hot breakfast. Normally we have sort of, cold cereal, maybe oatmeal, hard-boiled eggs, things like that. But Wednesday morning is hot breakfast. Hash browns, eggs, bacon, toast, et cetera, and all these senators show up, and it's our lounge.
The thing that scares me is when the senators come in with their oxygen tanks and it's hissing and it just catches me off guard.
because they've been here longer, and they're more deliberative, much more deliberative. So it does take a lot of oxygen.
Bill, we probably should move on from the House lounge, but I do want to point this out. In a tribute to our good Senator Monroe, I was in LFO and waiting for a meeting, and I looked in a blue book from my birth year, 1979, and I saw the
That was
bright
my high school graduation year, by the way.
So, yeah, okay, so we're close. But I saw the perky face of a good young Rod Monroe from the 1979 yearbook. The history in this place among people is amazing. Yeah. But the last thing on the House lounge, I think what's really neat is that Bill and I can be on the floor. We could be passionately disagreeing on something. And right after that, you're at floor 11 to 12.
Yeah.
Right after that, we shoot up to the House lounge. And we're having lunch together.
Yeah.
Like how, and you're talking about other things, and and it gets back to this real collegial kind of spirit of like, hey, what did you do this weekend? What's going on? Or what are you working on? It's also a time where we can talk about other things that are important, other work that we may need to collaborate on.
It's amazing to see people when they're eating are just people. The R, the D, or whatever it is kind of falls away because I'm having lasagna and salad, and we're talking about our kids and our grandkids that are the baseball game last night or whatever, and it is cool. That's probably the number one reason I go, besides really good food, is for that, the camaraderie of just we're eating together.
I would pay more just for that alone.
Absolutely, I agree.
So another segment that we wanted to talk about today is Bill and I have from time to time been, either the lone vote, no vote on something, or, a part of maybe a couple people voting no on a bill. And we thought it might be fun either to convince the other person to be a yes or a no on some of these oddity bills that we've put together.
Yeah, so Dan and I talked a little bit about this. So let me ask him a question. He voted no on House Bill 3446. Quick description. It provides that court has authority to enter judgment of conviction for Class A misdemeanor at any time after person has successfully completed sentence of probation if person was convicted of criminal driving while suspended or revoked and court makes certain findings. Representative Rayfield was one of 2 no votes out of 60. My question is, why?
So let me change you from a yes to a no, good sir. Absolutely.
From a yes to a no, okay.
Yeah. So here's the thing, Bill. And the way that the bill actually worked, if it would allow somebody to retake a felony and move it down to a misdemeanor. Now, the history of our expungement statutes or arrest statutes that allow someone to set aside an arrest record, generally the expungement statutes allow like kind of a cooling off period. So, for instance, I've been convicted of a misdemeanor or a felony, and I want to remove it from my record. Generally, we allow that to happen after kind of this cooling off period. So, like after a 5-year period, 10-year period, whatever it is. The way that this bill was drafted, it just allowed it purely at the discretion of the judge. So someone could get a felony for driving while suspended or revoked. Okay. And to get a felony, you have to really work your way up with kind of these, you've hit your suspensions or your revocations beforehand. So you've already kind of been violating the law. Then you graduate, if you will, to the felony charge. Mm-hmm. What I wanted to see in the bill was kind of like a 5-year or some sort of respite period where you prove yourself. Over this 5-year period, I've shown myself to be safe, and then I'm now eligible and I could go back to the court and apply to have it be removed down to a misdemeanor or something along those lines. And the years are, I would want to make it consistent with current statutes, and so that's why I was a no. What do you think?
Okay, so by doing that, it goes over to the Senate. You're kind of hoping that over in the Senate, something like what you're talking about gets amended and then it's sent back to us for concurrence, and you could be a yes at that point.
Absolutely.
If they did that.
And I think that's the one good point about this, is sometimes you'll find some no votes peppered throughout a bill. And you might be able to say, 90% of this bill is good, but, there's 10% of it that bothers me, but I want to send a message over to the Senate to say, hey, please take a peek at this. And people can also do that by filing a vote explanation after you've already voted on the bill.
All right.
What do you think? Did I win?
I see your point, and I heard the bill in Judiciary. It came out of House Judiciary Committee, and I was a yes vote there, and I was a yes vote on the floor. I would consider, if you got that amendment put in the Senate, I would consider staying a yes.
All right, I tried my best. So which probably justifies my decision not to speak on my no.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Okay. So one that you voted no on was House Bill 2013, which modifies the requirements for preschool program administered by Early Learning Division. So it directs the Early Learning Division to conduct an evaluation related to accessibility and quality of early learning programs. All right, so why did you vote no? And let's see if you can work your magic on me. Your charm.
Well, if
your
you'll
known
note-
charm, Bill Post.
Right. Well, I do have a little of that. It was 57-1. I was the lone no vote, which sometimes is like a man on an island. You just stand there and you look up at the board and you say, "Oh, holy crap! I'm the only no vote."
No,
But-
can we say crap on Channel 18?
On Channel 8, can we say crap on Channel 18?
Yeah, is that okay?
Andy's
It
cool.
is okay. All right,
Producers,
we're good.
he's-
We're good.
We're good. Okay. I was a no vote for a very simple reason. None of this here mattered to me. Not that it didn't matter, but that's not why I was a no vote. It doesn't say here on our notes, but you might go back and look at the bill and see it has an emergency clause.
Okay.
And that was why I was a no. I am a no almost every time there's an emergency clause on a bill. And now you've noticed Representative Barker has been saying the post rule.
Oh, really?
Did you see the last couple of concurrences we did? He got up on the floor and said, the post rule has been enacted. The emergency clause was taken off. That is my mission in this building, to remove the emergency clause from ever happening again.
It's going to be your legacy.
It's going to say that somewhere in the Capitol in a dome. No emergency clause, post.
Okay, I like that. A bronze statue.
Okay.
Okay. So it could be tiny, but I mean, it's,
Very
yeah,
small, very
it's
small.
going to have a lot of
So that's
bronze.
it. I don't know if that convinces you, but that was me.
Okay, all right. No.
But
no. I'm still a yes.
But here's the thing, okay? And we're going to tell you about how to change a vote. But real quick, I think this is important, and this is the difference between, and this is really a positive, but the difference between a majority party and minority party. I have a little more freedom, because if a bill is going to pass with 35 votes, is my 36th vote going to make it a better bill? It's still going to pass.
Right.
So I can vote no kind of freely. And there is a certain freedom. And by the way, I have 74 no votes. Representative Neerman has 77.
Holy moly.
And there's nobody else even close.
So I think in the
77.
Democratic caucus, I think I am one of I probably, if not the most, or one of the most with the no votes, interestingly enough.
You were, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact number, but you were. But there is, because you do have to have that 31 for it to pass, or 35, whatever it might be, there's a little less freedom for you, I think, than there is for somebody in the minority party. But
Yeah.
you are one of the more free ones in your caucus.
Well, the interesting thing about that, I mean, a majority of, I mean, like a substantial, I guess we're like 90, 95%, I don't know the exact numbers, are with the bills passed with overwhelming votes.
60 to
And so
nothing.
I kind of view, I've somewhat taken on the role that I view ourselves as kind of like the backstop on the floor. Like, committee does the bulk of the work. I then read the bills at night as I'm falling asleep, because there's a ton of them. And you're looking at all the testimony and who is for it and against it, and then I kind of view us as this backstop before it shifts to the Senate, which then is kind of a little bit anticlimactic when the bills are coming from the Senate, and then there's, it's like,
30 to
you know
nothing
it's
over
going to
there.
pass,
Yeah.
and, there you have it.
All right, so the educational part of this is, and I want to not go too long here, is we can actually change our votes on the floor. So let's say in this case we voted no on these particular bills, and we just say, gosh, you know what, I didn't want to be the only no up there on the board. What's kind of neat is, so as a member of the minority party, I go to the Democrat majority leader, which is Jennifer Williamson, and I tell her, gosh, you know what, I need to change my vote on HB 2013. And then she makes an announcement to the speaker. And we all say, that's okay, and it changes. And then you have to go to somebody else.
Do you think it's interesting that we're making motions during announcements?
That is a
'cause
weird
that's the
place,
order of
isn't
business,
it?
right?
That is. I never thought about it.
Yeah, but in theory we have to do that before we close.
Yeah.
I mean the session, because the vote has to be changed during that same session. Hence, I couldn't come back the next day and say, "Hey, wait a second." It's got to be in that moment.
Which I tried this year. I had one I did not want to be a no on, and I slept on it, got up the next morning, and said, I need to change my vote.
Yeah.
And I went to our wonderful clerk, Tim Sakarik, and I said, is there any way I can change my vote? He said, no, once the gavel falls, it's done.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and the other interesting thing, I mean, you do a vote explanation, which can be on the record, and that kind of helps out if someone wanted to look that up. But the other interesting thing is before a gavel has dropped on the bill, so we've all voted. Every 60 of us have voted. you can change it at that point. So you accidentally pressed the wrong button because you thought you might were on the wrong bill for whatever reason, or you had a change of heart. You can then, before the final gavel has dropped on it, you can then change your vote at that moment in time too.
And that's where, like I said, so the minority party goes to the majority leader, and the majority party goes to the minority leader.
Yeah.
And that's how we change our votes. So they stand up and change the vote for us.
And generally, I've never seen a time where either the minority leader or the majority leader has ever had any issue with that. It's a very cordial thing where both parties accommodate each other, because that's we want to make sure that we get the final result right.
Yep. All right, we're almost out of time. We promised we wouldn't go long this time.
That's true.
Are we going to do this? Should
We
do this?
have to do this. We have to call this out. During our last video, and I think we have a little sour grapes here to pick with our press corps. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, yes, yes.
We had a scoop, and the idea was that we were going to have these little inside scoops. We had to change ours to the House Lounge, but our initial scoop was
Aloha Friday shirts.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden we get tweeted at by our good reporter, Paris Ashen, about how we've been scooped. She scooped our scoop.
I couldn't believe
Representative Post.
I could not believe it. And by the way, here's a scoop for me. I thought it was Aiken.
Is it really?
Paris Aiken. I don't know.
Could be.
I don't know. I'm just, because I'm aching to know now that whether it's Aiken or not. Paris, I know you're watching. You scooped our scoop. You took away our story.
And now we can't give previews. No. We feel like we can't. Now, granted, I don't know what we're going to do next time, but in theory, if I did, we couldn't give a preview.
Because they might tell on us.
Yeah. And we'd be scooped again.
Boy, I tell you, there's just no secrets in this building.
Oh, it's horrible. Hashtag no secrets.
Start trending.
So we do have one historical fact. So that we've kind of put together, as we did that in the last piece, and then I think we get the heck out of here.
Okay.
Do you want to go through the historical fact there?
Page 2. Here's the historical fact. Historic or historical. Which is it? You're the lawyer.
I like to shorten it. Let's say the historic fact.
The historic fact.
Paris will get back to us on Twitter.
Yeah, Paris, you want to let us know
what
we're doing right or wrong here?
What's the AP style for that?
She's going to hate us. The current building that we're in right now, this Capitol building, was constructed from 1936 to 1938 and expanded in 1977, the House building and the Senate building. It is the third of the Capitols. The first one was built in 1855, destroyed by fire in 1855, I'm sorry, and the second one burned down in 1935. Now, the second one was right here where we're sitting. Did you know that?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
I figured he knew that. I just wanted to test. So we're in the third Capitol building. The second one was kind of similar to this one as far as some of the shape and the dome and all that sort of thing. But the first one was amazing. I've seen the pictures of it. It's fascinating. I have one in my office, a picture of that one. So we're in the third building. I hope it's the last building.
Well, if Peter Courtney has his way, we'll have a seismic reconstruction plan, which I hate sitting in hearing room 50 knowing that the dome is overhead, and if we had an earthquake, that would be a tomb.
If the gold man came straight down in the big one, yeah, you probably wouldn't last very long, I would think. Yeah.
So what do you think? You want to do this again?
Absolutely.
Of
course.
Let's do it again.
Yeah. I guess we need to know from you. Do you want us to do it again?
Andy, what's the word?
Andy's
Thumbs
good?
up from Andy.
All right, and if you're watching on whatever device and thing you're watching, send emails to us. What's your email?
So we've got, it's just the representative account. Yeah, so what, I forget.
He doesn't know his email.
Dan Rayfield.
I always have to look at the,
Rep.danrayfield at OregonLegislature.gov.
because they changed, it.
We have a new one, yeah. The old one
That
works.
one's easier to remember.
It is.
I always forget that.
And rep.billpost at OregonLegislature.gov. Send us an email and say, you guys stink, or hey, that was great, do some more. I don't care, you know.
Yeah, that works for me. And sometimes we had this scheduled for a couple weeks ago, but then, you know, our speaker, we had to get through business. And she booked a floor session over our behind the scenes.
The network canceled our show that week. I don't understand. The
Powers
network
that be
CEO.
above.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Way higher than our pay grade. All right. Good to see you again,
Well
Dan.
done, sir.
All right.
Always
Have a great
pleasure.
day.